Have you ever had that listing that you thought would sell right away, but weeks go by and no offers? Sucks, right? What if I told you that most homes don't fail to sell because of the market? They fail because of one or several predictable mistakes. And here's the good news. Almost every one of them is fixable. If you're a real estate agent, understanding these reasons will help you win more listings, have better price conversations, and save your sellers weeks or even months of frustration. So let's count down the 12 biggest reasons homes sit on the market without selling. Reason number one, it's overpriced. Let's just start with the obvious. Price is still king. The biggest mistake sellers make is believing that asking more gives them room to negotiate. In reality, it often eliminates the very buyers who would have made an offer. Here's something I tell sellers all the time. Price creates traffic. Traffic creates offers, and offers determine value. Not the other way around. The market doesn't care what the seller needs to net. It doesn't care what they owe. It doesn't care what the Zestimate says. The market simply compares today's choices, and buyers are comparison shoppers. If 10 similar homes exist and yours cost $20,000 more without offering $20,000 more value, buyers simply keep scrolling. On the other hand, every home is sellable at the right price. Here, let me prove it to you. Let's say there's a home in your neighborhood and it's run down, it needs a little bit of maintenance, it needs a little love, right? It's not in the best condition. And I said, hey, would you give $1 million for that home? Well, you probably would say no, right? Well, what if I said, would you pay $1 for that home? Well, sure you would, right? Because even if you knock the home down, the land's worth at least $1. So somewhere between $1 million and $1 is the right price, or is the price that home will sell in its current condition. So the rest of the reasons on this list determine where in a particular range the price will land, but every home will sell at some price. So price is king, and price is relative to what else is out there that a buyer can buy when they're comparison shopping. Reason number two, the condition doesn't match the price. Price and condition are inseparable. Buyers don't mind paying premium prices. They just expect premium condition. If your listing is priced like the remodeled home down the street, except that it still has original carpet, outdated lighting, worn paint, and an aging kitchen, the buyer doesn't think this house needs updating. They think this house is overpriced. Conditions affect perceived value more than many sellers realize. Reason number three, poor listing photos. Today's first showing happens online, not at the front door. If the photos don't stop the scroll, nothing else matters. So dark rooms, crooked angles, phone photos, clutter, toilet lids up, overflowing countertops, these aren't small issues. They're deal killers. Professional photography isn't an expense. It's one of the highest return investments you can make when marketing a listing. Reason number four, limited showing availability. You cannot sell a home that buyers can't see. Sometimes sellers unintentionally make it difficult. They'll say things like only after 6, or no Sundays, or need 24-hour notice, or the baby is sleeping, the dogs have to be moved. And some of those things are legitimate, but every restriction eliminates potential buyers. Every obstacle lowers demand. The easier you make it to see the home, the easier it becomes to sell the home. Reason number five, the home doesn't show well. The aesthetic appeal of the home matters. Let me tell you a story. When I first started in this business, that kind of illuminated this for me. I had some clients that referred to me, and they had recently graduated from pharmacy school, a doctorate of pharmacy, and they were the cerebral type of client. Like they were very left brain in their thinking, very intelligent. In fact, I was a little bit intimidated because they were more intelligent than me. And we were looking at houses one particular day in the same neighborhood. And these two homes had very similar floor plans. In fact, I suspect they were built by the same builder. And one of them was fine condition. It just was a little bit vanilla. Needed a little bit of paint, just kind of not much popped off, but it was a completely adequate home for what they were looking for. This other home, keep in mind, almost identical floor plan, had been updated or recently painted. They had music playing. The home had been staged. They had the fireplace going. They had fragrances in the air that smelled good when you came in. And this home was listed for $25,000 more than this home. Now, I thought that these cerebral-minded clients would see that with just a couple $100 of paint, this home over here would be, especially with their stuff in it, almost exactly like this home once you remove the seller's items that were in the home, the staging items. Well, you know which house they bought? They called me that evening and they said, we want the house that's we want to make an offer on the house that's $25,000 higher. Now, of course, I'm not going to argue with my own clients, but I did say, why did you choose that one? Like, what was the thought process? Well, it just felt more like home. And it occurred to me that the aesthetics of the home matter to the final sales price, even though from a strictly value appraisal concept, it does nothing for it. The homes are pretty much the same home, same value from a on paper standpoint, but the amount that they were willing to pay was influenced by how the home made them feel. So here's something that every listing agent should remember. Buyers buy emotionally, then justify logically. If they walk into strange odors or dirty dishes or pet smells, dim lighting, overflowing closets, or obvious deferred maintenance, their emotions start working against you. The house may actually be wonderful, but first impressions are incredibly difficult to overcome. By the way, on this topic, let me give you a pro tip. When you're going to a listing appointment or getting ready to list a home, examine the front porch. Think about this for a second. When is the time that the buyer is standing still the longest? Because most of the time they're walking through the house, they're walking down the hallway, they're tipping into bedrooms, they're walking through the master, they're walking through the kitchen, they're on the move all the time. But when that agent, their agent, is fiddling with that lockbox, they are standing for 2 or 3 minutes on the front porch. And while they're doing that, they're looking around. And so if the light sconce is dirty, or if there's a wasp nest up there, or there's cobwebs, those kind of things, if there's cracks, this is the time that they're making an evaluation of what they're going to see inside. So a really smart tip is focus a couple of minutes on that entryway so that it looks really sharp. So while they're standing there looking around, it creates a positive expectation of what they're about to walk into. Reason number 6, the market has shifted. Sometimes sellers are living in yesterday's market. The neighborhood sold for top dollar 6 months ago. Interest rates were different. Inventory was lower. Competition was lighter. Look, a lot of agents ran into this when just on the tail end of COVID, when interest rates were really low. You could put a sign in the yard, and maybe this was true in your neighborhood as well. You could put a sign in the yard and you'd have 8, 10, 12, sometimes 20 offers immediately. And if you were an agent that got licensed during that period, this market that we're in right now feels very difficult because now you actually have to know how to market a home. You actually have to know how to list a home. And, for those of us that have been in this a while, or were in business during the 2008, 2009 financial crisis, this market actually feels pretty normal, pretty standard. The COVID market was the one that was wild and out of control. So that being the case, today's market isn't yesterday's market. Great listing agents don't argue with the market. They interpret it. Our job isn't to convince buyers they're wrong. Our job is to help sellers respond to reality before the market forces them to. Reason number 7, weak marketing and unclear positioning. Putting a home in the MLS isn't marketing. It's announcing that marketing can begin. The best listing agents ask a different question. Who is this home perfect for? Every home solves a problem. Maybe it's perfect for first-time home buyers. Maybe it's ideal for empty nesters. Maybe it's a work-from-home professional. Maybe it's a growing family. Obviously, you shouldn't violate any fair housing rules, but your marketing should tell that story. You should incorporate things like professional photos, video, social media, email campaigns, open houses, agent outreach into your marketing, and every piece of marketing should answer one question. Why would someone choose this home over every other option? Features tell, benefits sell, stories sell even better. Reason number 8, buyers are seeing better alternatives. Buyers don't compare your listings to perfection, they compare it to everything else that's available today. That's why you should always know your competition. Walk competing listings, study them, know their strengths, know their weaknesses. If another house offers a better kitchen, newer flooring, and a lower price, ignoring that reality doesn't make it disappear. The market is always comparing. We should be too. Reason number 9, functional obsolescence. Some homes have challenges that marketing alone can't eliminate. Maybe it has one bathroom. Maybe the bedrooms are unusually small. Maybe the garage is converted. Maybe it's on a busy street. Maybe the floor plan feels awkward. These aren't fatal flaws, but they do affect value. The mistake is pretending that they don't. The best agents acknowledge them, then price accordingly. Reason number 10, deferred maintenance. Small repairs create big doubts. A dripping faucet, peeling paint, broken trim, missing caulk, loose door handles. The buyer starts wondering, if this is what I can see, what can't I see? One small issue becomes 10 imagined problems. Deferred maintenance doesn't just lower value, it lowers confidence. Reason number 11, poor listing descriptions. Most listing descriptions read like tax records. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, granite countertops, large backyard. Those are features. People don't buy features. They buy what those features do for them. So instead of saying large covered patio, say, imagine spending summer evenings grilling with friends while the kids play in the backyard. Paint the picture. Help buyers emotionally move into the home before they ever arrive. Reason number 12, the agent doesn't listen to the market. This may be the most important one. We're not going to get it right on listing day 1 every single time. The market is constantly giving us feedback. Showings, online views, showing comments, open house conversations, agent feedback. The question isn't whether feedback exists. The question is, are we listening? If 20 buyers walk through and nobody writes an offer, well, that's feedback. If every agent mentions the same concern, that's feedback. Great listing agents don't defend the listing. They diagnose the listing. They interpret what the market is saying and help sellers make smart decisions before weeks turn into months. So let's talk about diagnosis. If a home isn't selling, it's rarely because the market is bad. It's usually one or more of these 12 reasons. And here's what separates average agents from exceptional listing agents. Average agents hope, exceptional agents diagnose. They ask, is it price? Is it condition? Is it marketing? Is it accessibility? Is it competition? Then they help the seller make adjustments based on facts, not feelings. Remember this, the market isn't trying to punish your seller. It's trying to communicate with them. Your job is to become the translator. If you can master that skill, you not only sell more homes, you'll earn more trust, more referrals, and more listings for years to come. If this content helped you become a better listing agent, subscribe to this channel. Every week, we share practical strategies to help newer and frustrated real estate agents build a business they're proud of, one principle at a time. And until next time, go out there, serve people well, and become the agent your market needs.